You keep waiting, hoping, and convincing yourself that maybe, just maybe, if you had done things differently, they would have chosen you. But tell me this, when has someone ever changed their mind because another person sat there and suffered? When has anyone ever woken up one day, struck with regret, and come back on their knees, ready to worship the person they walked away from? Never. Because people don't regret what they think they can replace. This is the truth that no one else will tell you. A truth that will burn through every lie you've been feeding yourself. The truth that will finally open your eyes to what you've allowed to happen. If you're here for sugar-coated words, for false hope, for the illusion that patience and suffering will somehow bring you love, leave now. Because this is where illusions die. This is where you stop being the one who waits and start being the one who walks away. You were never their priority. You were a convenience, a backup plan, a safe bet, until something else caught their eye. The moment they found something new, fresh, and exciting, they discarded you like an old, worn-out toy. And now, while they are out there living their life, enjoying their freedom and moving on without a second thought, you sit here drowning in heartbreak over someone who never even feared losing you. There was once a person who spent years waiting, years of excuses, forgiving broken promises, watching them flirt with others, pull away, and come back, only to pull away again. Years of believing that one day love would win, that patience would be rewarded. Then suddenly, without warning, they got engaged to someone else, someone they had been dating for less than a year. You know what they asked? Why them and not me? Because that person never gave them the chance to take them for granted. You see, people don't commit to those who offer unconditional patience. They commit to those who demand respect, those who make it clear they will not settle for half efforts, half love, or half commitment. But you still think love is about waiting. You still believe that if you prove your loyalty, if you show them that you're the most patient, the most devoted, the most understanding, they will finally wake up and realize your worth. Tell me, when has that ever worked? Look around. How many people have wasted their best years waiting to be chosen? How many poured their hearts, their time, their loyalty into someone, only to be replaced by a person who, from the very beginning, refused to be treated like an option? The world lied to you. Society lied to you. They told you that being a good person means waiting, being patient, forgiving, and understanding. They told you that real love means standing by someone no matter what. That if you hold on long enough, they will finally see you. But they never told you this. People do not value what they do not fear losing. They never feared losing you because no matter how many times they ignored you, disrespected you, or pushed you aside, you stayed. And that right there is why they never chose you. Today, you have a choice. You can stay where you are, waiting, hoping, breaking yourself into pieces for someone who never looked twice. Or you can wake up. You can be the one who walks away, the one who vanishes, the one who rises so high that by the time they realize what they lost, they can never reach you again. Say it. Own it. Drop it in the comments. I refuse to be an option. Say it with your whole chest. Say it like you mean it. Show them, show yourself, show the universe that today is the day you finally get it. Because what's coming next? I'm about to show you exactly how to break their ego so badly, they'll feel your absence like a wound that will never heal. And trust me, they will feel it once they've tossed you aside like yesterday's news. Now watch them regret it. So let's get straight to it. The truth you don't want to hear. They never truly loved you. They enjoyed you, used you, took everything you gave so freely, your energy, your love, your loyalty, and drained you dry. The moment you had nothing left to give, they tossed you aside without a second thought. And now, here you are, sitting in the wreckage, replaying every moment, every word, trying to understand what went wrong, asking yourself, why wasn't I enough? But the real question is, why did you ever let yourself be just an option in the first place? It feels like your soul has been torn apart, like the ground beneath your feet has vanished. But this pain, this isn't love. It was never love. It was control. Because people don't regret losing you. They regret losing the power they had over you. You were their safety net, the one they could always count on to be there, to love them, to understand them, to forgive them no matter how many times they ignored you, disrespected you, or made you feel like you weren't enough. But tell me, when has anyone ever feared losing something they take for granted? Ever seen a child toss aside a toy the second they get bored? That's them. That's exactly what they did to you. And now they've moved on to something new, something exciting, something that feels fresh. Meanwhile, you're still sitting here, hoping, waiting, aching for them to realize what they lost. But let's be honest, was it really special? Did you feel cherished, or were you always the one giving while they were always the one taking? This is the lie they sold you. The idea that love is sacrifice, that if you just hold on long enough, if you just love harder, if you just prove your worth, they'll wake up one day and finally choose you. But has that day come? Has it ever come for anyone who sat around waiting? No, because it never will. They raised you on fairy tales, told you that good people are patient, that love means standing by someone no matter what, that if you just endure a little longer, if you just suffer a little more, you'll be rewarded. So where's your reward? Because right now, you are sitting in the ruins of a war you fought alone. Right now, you are drowning in the emptiness of a love that was never real. And right now, they are out there living their life without a second thought, while you are left to pick up the broken pieces of a heart they never valued in the first place. And I know deep down, you still want to believe that they'll regret this. That one day they'll wake up and see what they lost. That one day they'll come back and finally choose you. But listen closely, even if they do come back, it won't be for love. Because people don't return for love. They return for control. They come back when they see you've moved on, when they feel your absence like a phantom limb, when they realize that the power they once had over you is slipping away. And right now, without even knowing it, you're still feeding their ego. Every time you check their social media, every time you replay old memories, every time you cry yourself to sleep over them, they may not see it, but they feel it. They feel that they still own a piece of you. So what do? How do you rise from this? You take all of this pain, all of this devastation, and you burn the old version of yourself to the ground. Because the person you were, the one who gave too much, who waited too long, who loved too hard for too little, cannot come with you into your future. You do not heal by waiting for them to come back. You do not heal by stalking their new relationship, comparing yourself, wondering if they are happier now. You do not heal by rewriting history, by searching for the moment where you could have done more. You heal by accepting the truth. They were never the prize. The real tragedy was never that they left. The real tragedy was that you sacrificed yourself for someone who was never worthy of you in the first place. And now you rise. You take every ounce of energy you wasted on them and you pour it back into yourself. You stop waiting, you stop hoping, you stop giving a damn about someone who has already proven they don't give a damn about you. And let me tell you something, the second they realize you are truly gone, that is the moment they will feel your loss. That is the moment regret will hit. Not because they loved you, but because they loved the power they had over you. And when they come crawling back, because they will, you make sure that door is locked. Because someone who truly learns their worth never lowers themselves for the same love that once broke them. Someone who truly rises does not entertain the person who once discarded them like they were nothing. Now you rise. Easy come, easy go. Why? They never valued you. Let's talk about value. Not the value you thought you had in their life, but the value they actually placed on you. Because if they truly valued you, they wouldn't have risked losing you. They wouldn't have taken you for granted. They wouldn't have treated you like an option while you treated them like a priority. But here's the truth you don't want to hear. They never had to earn you, and that was the problem. Tell me, when did they ever chase you? When did they ever fear losing you? When did they ever fight to keep you? Never. Because they didn't have to. You handed over your love, your time, your devotion, without them ever having to lift a finger. You stayed through the neglect. You tolerated the excuses. You forgave when they didn't even apologize. And what happens when something is too easy? It loses its value. If diamonds were given away for free, no one would fight for them, no one would treasure them, no one would see them as rare, as something worth having. But lock that same diamond behind glass. Give it a price that only a few can afford, and suddenly it becomes desirable. Suddenly, it has worth. Suddenly, people will go to war just to have it. And you were the free diamond. You thought love was about endless giving, about being patient, about showing them that you were different from the rest. But let me ask you, did it work? Because right now, they're chasing someone who never tolerated half effort, someone who walked away the first time they were disrespected, someone who set a price so damn high that the only way to have them was to level up. And you sat there waiting, hoping, believing that your kindness would be enough, that if you just proved yourself, if you just loved harder, they would finally see your worth. But they didn't. Because people don't value what they already have. They value what they fear losing, and they never feared losing you. They knew they could text you at 2 a.m. and you'd answer. They knew they could disappear for days and you'd still be there. They knew they could treat you like an option and you'd make excuses for them. So why would they fight for you? Why would they step up when they never had to? Why would they choose you when you made yourself available without them ever having to earn it? I once told someone who was stuck in this same cycle, years wasted on someone who never committed, always stringing them along, always keeping their options open. And you know what happened? The second they walked away, the second they stopped answering calls, the second they disappeared, that's when the chase began. Not because there was love, but because there was control. Because the power they once had was gone. And that is the game. They don't regret losing you. They regret losing the control they had over you. So understand this. Love is not a charity. It is not something you hand out for free, hoping that one day they'll recognize your worth. If you want to be valued, you have to make them work for it. You have to set standards so high that only those who are worthy can reach you. You have to be willing to walk away the moment you are not valued. Because they don't stay with the one who loves them the most. They stay with the one who makes them step up. And now you have two choices. You can stay where you are, waiting, hoping, giving yourself away to someone who never had to earn you. Or you can become the one who demands more, the one who stops settling for crumbs, the one who walks away the first time they are disrespected, the one who becomes the prize, not the option. And when that moment comes, when they finally see that they lost something they will never get back, that's when they'll feel it. Let's rip off the bandage. This is going to sting, but it will also set you free. People do not walk away from what they truly value. They didn't leave because someone else was better than you. They didn't replace you because you weren't enough. They left because they could, because you made it too easy, because they never had to work for you. And that's the harsh truth. People do not value what they do not earn. Think about it. You gave them everything, your time, your love, your patience. You stood by them through every mistake, every excuse, every half-hearted apology. You were there no matter what. And for what? So they could turn around and build the life you wanted with someone else. Now you sit here, torturing yourself, asking, why them? What do they have that I don't? But that's the wrong question. The real question is, what did they do that you didn't? And the answer: they never let themselves be taken for granted. People don't commit to the ones who wait. They don't commit to the ones who hand out endless chances. They don't commit to the ones who make their life easy. They commit to the ones they fear losing. And you are never a loss to them. You are a guarantee, a backup plan, a sure thing. Someone so loyal, so forgiving, so available that they never had to question whether you'd still be there. They never had to earn your love because you gave it freely, no matter how many times they failed you. But the one they chose, they didn't wait, they didn't chase, they didn't beg. They made it clear. One chance, one mistake, and they were gone. And because of that, they were respected. Because of that, they were valued. Because of that, they were chosen. And now you're left wondering if you just did more, if you had just been more patient, more understanding, more loving. Maybe then they would have stayed. But that's not how it works. People do not leave what they are afraid to lose. And they were never afraid of losing you. You spent so much time proving yourself to someone who was never trying to earn you. Now you sit here, drowning in the aftermath, feeling like you lost a competition you didn't even know you were in. But here's something you need to understand. You were never competing with them. You were competing with their need for a challenge. And you lost, not because you weren't enough, but because you were too much for too little effort. This is why they left, because the one they chose didn't have to prove themselves, because the one they chose didn't wait around, because the one they chose set their standards so high that the only two options were to step up or step out. And guess what? They stepped up, not because this person is special, not because they are more beautiful, not because they are better than you, but because they made themselves valuable. And now it's your turn. You stop making yourself an option. You stop proving your worth to people who don't deserve it. You stop waiting for someone to wake up and realize how valuable you are. Because if they couldn't see it while they had you, they never will. You start setting standards that force people to level up or leave. You start treating yourself like the prize, not the consolation prize. And the moment you finally understand this, you will never be replaced again. No more second chances. Burn that bridge for good. Let's stop pretending they don't miss you. They miss the control they had over you. They don't regret losing you. They regret losing the power they once held, the power to pull you back whenever they felt lonely, bored, or in need of an ego boost, And right now, they know you're still there. They know you're still hurting. They know that even if they never come back, they still live rent-free in your mind. That's why they feel nothing. Because people only feel loss when they know they can never have something again. You were never their priority. You were their safety net. Their just in case. The one they kept in their back pocket while they explored other options. The one they knew would answer their texts, watch their stories, check their page, think about them every night without them having to do a damn thing. That is why they don't regret you. That is why they moved on so easily, because as long as you're still waiting, they have nothing to miss. Now tell me, how does that feel? Knowing that while you are drowning in heartbreak, replaying every moment, questioning what you did wrong, they are out there living their life completely unbothered. That while you sit in silence hoping they'll notice, they already know you're still there. Because even in silence, your energy speaks. They feel that you still care. They know you're still watching. They know you're still hurting. And the second they know that, they don't miss you. But what happens when you disappear? What happens when you stop checking their page? When you stop reacting to their posts? When you stop giving them the satisfaction of knowing they still affect you? Panic. Because for the first time, they will feel something they never expected. Actual loss. People don't process breakups the same way. When they leave, they feel free. They feel relieved. They feel like they've escaped responsibility. At first, there is no regret because in their mind, you're still there. But then weeks go by, then months, and suddenly the energy shifts. Suddenly they notice you're gone. Suddenly they realize they haven't heard from you, that you haven't watched their stories, that you haven't liked their posts. At first, they brush it off. They're just mad. They'll be back. They still love me. But then time passes, and the more time that passes, the more it hits them. The more they start to wonder, have they met someone else? Have they moved on? Do they even think about me anymore? And that is when they finally feel it. That is when regret creeps in. That is when they finally understand that they lost something real. But by then, it's too late, because the only way to win is to make sure they can never get you back. Not in a few weeks, not in a few months, never. You burn that bridge completely so that by the time they realize what they lost, you don't even care anymore. Because someone who learns their worth does not go back to the one who made them question it in the first place. And let's be clear, you are not doing this to punish them. You are not doing this to make them chase you. You are doing this because you finally understand that someone who truly valued you would have never put you in a position where you had to beg for their love. So today, you make a choice. You can stay where you are, waiting, hoping, wasting your time. Or you can take back your power. You can walk away without looking back. You can finally become the one who disappears so completely that by the time they regret losing you, they can never reach you again. Silence speaks louder than begging. Make them feel it. Listen carefully, because this will change everything. People do not regret what they still have access to. Read that again. Let it burn through every excuse you've made for why you haven't cut them off yet. Because as long as you're still there, watching, waiting, hoping, they feel nothing. No more begging, no more crying, no more just checking in. You erase them, you block, you delete, you disappear. No explanations, no closure, just silence. And I know what you're thinking. But what if they think I don't care? What if they move on and forget about me? Let me ask you something. Has caring ever made them stay? Has waiting ever made them love you more? Has proving yourself ever made them choose you? Number, so stop right now, because they still know you're there. They still feel your energy. They know that if they were to reach out, you would pick up. If they were to come back, you would consider it. If they were to throw you a breadcrumb, you would take it. And because of that, they do not feel your loss. Because real loss, true gut-wrenching, panic-inducing loss, is not when you're sitting there crying, making sad posts, hoping they notice. It's not when you're still checking their profile, hoping they regret it. It's not when you're still engaging with them in any way. Real loss is when you vanish. Loss is when they look for you and you are nowhere to be found. Loss is when they realize that the power they had over you is gone. And do you want to know what truly drives someone crazy? It's not a long emotional message. It's not a final dramatic goodbye. It's silence. Because silence destroys their ego. They expect you to break. They expect you to be watching. They expect you to still be in pain because that's what they're used to. People waiting for them, missing them, craving their attention, even when they've done nothing to deserve it. So what happens when you do the one thing they never saw coming? When you go completely ghost? When you delete their number, block them, erase every trace of them from your life? When you don't respond? Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. They panic. At first they won't care. At first they'll think they'll be back. This is just a phase. They'll get weak. They'll check in like they always do. But then time passes and you are still gone. And that is when it hits them. Because suddenly, the thing they thought they could replace, the thing they thought they could always get back, is gone. And do you know what people hate more than anything? Uncertainty. Right now, they are comfortable. Right now, they feel secure. Right now, they assume they still have you, even if you're not talking, because people know when someone is still emotionally attached. But when you go silent, when you give them nothing, that is when they start to spiral. That is when they start checking for you. That is when they start wondering, wait, did I actually lose them? And that is the moment regret creeps in. But let's be clear, this is not about them. This is about you. This is about reclaiming your power. This is about choosing yourself. This is about becoming someone so damn untouchable that no one ever takes you for granted again. Because here's the truth. The second you stop being an option, you become a loss. The second you stop chasing, you become a mystery. The second you go silent, you become a regret. And that is when they feel it. Now, how do you become someone they can never play again? How many times have you let someone walk in and out of your life like a revolving door? How many times have you lowered your standards, ignored the red flags, and forgiven the unforgivable just because you thought, if I love them harder, maybe they will change? But let's be honest, people do not change for the ones they take for granted. They only change for the ones they fear losing. And they never feared losing you because you never truly walked away. You begged, you cried, you stayed, you held on to potential, to what could have been, to the fantasy that one day they would wake up and finally see your worth. But let's break the lie that's been holding you hostage. People do not choose the ones who wait. They choose the ones who make them earn their place. You want to know why they suddenly committed to someone else? It's not because they were better than you. It's because they were never easy to have. They made them chase. They set their standards so high that only the worthy could reach them. And you were the discount version of love. You were on sale. available to the one who put in the least effort. And here's the truth. People do not respect what comes cheap. So now you rise. You stop begging. You stop hoping. You stop auditioning for someone's love. Because the moment you walk away for good, the moment you truly become untouchable, is the moment people start fearing losing you before they even have you. Have you ever noticed how people treat luxury? You don't see a Chanel bag sitting on a clearance rack. You don't see a Bentley being handed out for free. Why? Because luxury is exclusive. Luxury does not chase. Luxury does not beg. Luxury makes people prove they are worthy of it. And that is what you must become. A person so rare, so valuable, so deeply in love with themselves that others do not just want them. They fear not being good enough to keep them. So let me ask you, why have you spent your life making yourself so easy to have? Why have you given so much to those who did so little? Why have you been out here selling diamonds at the price of broken glass? You were never the problem. Your only mistake was thinking they were worthy of you in the first place. So here's what happens now. You set your standards so high that only the best can reach you. You never again tolerate half-love, mixed signals, or someone who cannot choose you fully. You stop explaining yourself, stop proving yourself, stop convincing anyone to love you. You walk away from anything that does not feel like absolute certainty, because a person of value does not wait to be chosen. They choose themselves. And when you do this, when you stop being available for weak, half-hearted love, when you become the kind of person so damn rare that most will never even get the chance to touch your energy, that is when you become someone no one can ever play again. And trust me, when that happens, they will feel it. The move that breaks their ego forever is to show them they never mattered, not with words, not with a long emotional message about how much they hurt you, not by trying to make them see what they lost. You break their ego by doing the one thing they never thought you would do: move on completely, without ever looking back. Because here's the truth. People only regret losing someone when they become someone they can never have again. And right now, you're still giving them power. Every time you check their social media, every time you wonder what they're doing, every time you leave the door open just a little, just in case they decide to come back, you keep them comfortable. But ask yourself, why do you even want them back? What have they actually done to deserve another chance? What have they actually proven to show they're worth even another second of your energy? Because let's be real, if they truly valued you, you wouldn't be sitting here trying to figure out how to make them regret losing you. And yet, here you are, still hoping, still waiting, still giving them space in your mind, your heart, your life. But do you know what happens the second they realize you are still emotionally available? They stop missing you. They stop regretting. They stop wondering. Because now they know if they ever wanted to come back, you would take them back. And the second they know that, you lose. So what do? You erase them completely. You block them. You delete their number. You remove every trace of them from your world. And when they come crawling back with their weak little, "Hey, how have you been?" text, you do not respond. Not because you're playing a game, not because you want to make them chase you, but because you are no longer an option. A woman I once worked with was stuck in this same cycle for years. Her ex would leave, disappear for months, and then suddenly pop back up with some excuse. "I've been thinking about you. I miss you. I wasn't ready before, but now I see what I lost." And every single time, she believed them. Every single time, she let them back in. And every single time, they left trust again, because they were never afraid to lose her. Until one day, she did something different. She blocked them, she disappeared, she vanished from their world without a single word. At first, they didn't care. They assumed she would come back, like always. But then weeks passed, months passed, and they started noticing her absence. And then the panic set in. They started calling, messaging from different numbers, asking mutual friends about her. They felt the loss. But by the time they realized it, she didn't care anymore. That is how you break someone's ego. You make sure that by the time they regret losing you, it's too late. Not because you were trying to make them regret it, not because you wanted revenge, but because you chose yourself so completely that their existence became irrelevant. And I know it hurts. You want closure. You want that final conversation, that final apology, that final moment where they finally see your worth. But let me tell you the truth. You don't need closure, because closure is just an excuse to keep the door open a little longer. Closure is just another way of delaying the inevitable. They made their choice. Now it's time for you to make yours. So tell me, are you going to be the one who waits? The one who gives them the satisfaction of knowing they were always there, always available, always hoping they would change? Or are you going to be the one who walks away, who wants and never looks back? Because the only way someone can break you is if you give them the power to. The only way someone can play you is if you let them. The only way someone can regret losing you is if you make damn sure they never get another chance. And that moment, the moment you finally walk away, is the moment you win. Because the one who walks away always wins. And trust me, they will feel it.